This next episode of Trivia in Chief is about our 14th president, Franklin Pierce. Franklin Pierce was born in 1804 in New Hampshire. He became a lawyer and married Jane Appleton in 1834. Pierce entered politics when he was elected to the New Hampshire state legislature as a Democrat in 1829. He was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1833 and the U.S. Senate in 1837. Pierce became well known for his charm and good looks, but also suffered from depression and alcoholism. Alcohol would continue to impact him for the rest of his life. His wife Jane hated politics, which led to Pierce stepping down from the Senate in 1842. When the Mexican-American War started in 1846, Pierce asked President Polk to let him serve as an officer in the Army. Despite Pierce's lack of military experience, he was made a brigadier general. His commanding officer was General Winfield Scott. Pierce was actually injured during the war at the Battle of Contreras. After the war, Pierce retired from politics. In the 1852 presidential election, Pierce was nominated for president of the Democratic Party, though his wife Jane was against the candidacy. The Whig candidate was Pierce's former commanding officer, Winfield Scott. Pierce emerged victorious in the election. 2 months before his inauguration, the Pierce family was in a train wreck. Their only surviving son, Benny, was killed in front of their eyes. Because of this, Jane Pierce did not attend her husband's inauguration, and no inaugural ball was held. While in office, Pierce became well known for his support of slavery. He was a supporter of the Kansas-Nebraska Act in 1854, which allowed Kansas and Nebraska to choose whether or not they would allow slaves. It ultimately led to the Bleeding Kansas events, where Kansas erupted into its own civil war. Pierce was also controversial for the Ostend Manifesto, an internal presidential memo which threatened war with Spain if they didn't sell Cuba. Pierce was president during the Gadsden Purchase, which acquired what is now the southern parts of New Mexico and Arizona. The land is the final piece of the continental United States acquired. One unconfirmed story from Pierce's presidency is that he ran over an elderly woman with his carriage. In 1856, Pierce expected to be nominated to run again, but was not even considered by his party. While he is not the only president who wasn't nominated for a second term by his party, he is the only president who wasn't even considered for the nomination. After leaving office, he famously said, "There is nothing left to do but get drunk." After leaving office, he traveled around the world with his wife Jane, who was dying of tuberculosis. They visited everywhere from Switzerland to the Bahamas. Throughout the entire trip, Jane carried the Bible of their dead son Benny. Jane Pierce passed away in 1863, and Franklin Pierce died in 1869. Franklin Pierce was rejected by his own party, and was a controversial figure in his day. Today, he is considered one of the least memorable presidents. His successor was James Buchanan. Thank you.